Marissa says, long time no see.
Hey.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we usually we haven't been live on YouTube a lot lately. But
it's changing with the new year.
Because, we're going to go a little more heavy on YouTube this year, see if we can't do things a little better. Of course, I've been calling out one of the fake painters here on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, Bryce, the small kid block guy. And so his only response is, you're old, you're cranky, you think you do it your way is the only way. And of course, across any of my platforms, I've never said that at all. I've just said I do what's the best way for me and my customers.
Right. But also people think that show car is real.
Right. People think that the show cars that he's really getting $200,000 or $20,000, and he's not. He's doing his own cars, his own personal car. He ain't never worked a day in his fucking life. He's a fake painter. I stack. It's got to be stackable. All right, Beavis.
They have not approved anything.
Yeah.
Let's see. Marissa says, missed y'all. It's your favorite New Orleans resident.
New Orleans.
Nolans.
I'm sure I screwed that up.
Faith Sykes says, good morning. So glad to be on the JP train.
Good morning, Miss Sykes.
Let's see. Ed says, hi. John Parham. He says, what are we painting?
I think this is like a 70s Buick Skylarker.
Yeah, I think it's like a 70 or 71. It's one of the older ones. It's a 4-door. Dad's got some massive dents he's going to try and fix.
Well, we've only got one right here.
Actually, yeah, that's the only massive dent. There's just a couple of little
dings. A couple of small ones.
And the main thing, too, is this one is going... Has this been painted before, by the way?
It looks like it, yeah. Looks like it was a pale blue and then they wanted a sky blue, which is not an uncommon thing.
Pretty close to one another. But this one is actually going to be going...
OD green, olive drab green with a gold pearl on it.
Yeah. I can't wait to do this one. This one's great. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's got these body lines along the bottom. I absolutely love that. I love those body lines. These older cars are great for pearls, especially when they have the body lines and the edges like this, because you'll really be able to see the pearl.
Anybody who knows anything knows that this was made for the zombie apocalypse to make sure that when the head bounces, this catches it.
That's true. Marissa says, tired. JP is a vibe. He is. Do you know what an Oldsmobile 1961 is? That's from Sabrina.
Do I know what it is? Yeah, the Oldsmobile. It's an Oldsmobile.
Do I know what it looks like at the top of my brain?
Yeah,
no.
Do I know what it looks like? No. I've lived through 5 decades, 5.5 decades.
John Parham says the most I paid was $4,500 on a candy burnt orange paint job on an '87 Bach Chevy in 2016.
Nice.
That's actually a pretty good price, especially for 2016 even. But the standard cost of the show cars used to be somewhere around $2,500 to $3,500 even like 6 years ago. And all these guys keep making the false claims of COVID hit and all our prices quadrupled. We can't afford anything anymore. But COVID hit and we noticed that our prices doubled in some spots, which did not in others. It literally went down for some things because the market started flooding with other people with cheaper options.
Right. I actually kept a price list of what we were buying and where we were buying it at. And at most across the board, everything got raised by $2.
Yeah. The only thing that doubled was clear because they had a clear shortage of something back in like 2022, 2023.
Right.
Something like that.
Clear kind of went up by like $15 to $20.
Right. But everyone else is like, it's quadrupled. It's more.
Everybody acts like that. It's $5,000 to buy materials. And it may very well be in Maine, New York, Chicago, California, because they don't want you there. They're not approving new shops at all. You can't get the licensing for a new shop anywhere in any of those states because they don't want you there.
Right. They don't want you. They want the corporation there. They don't want the
Right.
little small guy. They don't want people like us. They don't want you to be able to do anything. They want the
Right.
corp. Let's see. Which car is it? This car right here. This is a 70s Skylark
I
four-door.
think it's the 70s.
I know it's a 1970s because the 80s started looking like the Men in Black car.
It's weird.
Yeah. Let's see. Sun says hi. Sabrina says, I got a 61 Oldsmobile and I have a Camaro and it took me 15 years to finish. It was a 1986.
Yeah, if you're working on part-time, man, you only got but a little bit.
Yeah, you don't realize quite how much work actually goes into it when you do a full restoration. If we're just talking about a paint job, probably 6 months to a year, maybe 2 years if you're like part-time doing it. But when you're talking about a full restoration, I don't think you can ever truly be done. I see so many people that constantly are changing things.
It's not easy to chase down those kind of late model parts.
No,
either.
no. Not if you want to go original. You don't want to replace it
Right.
with new things. It's next to impossible. So the main thing we got to do right now is fix this dent. Yeah, are you going to drill in and pop it out?
No,
You're just going to fill it with some Bondo?
no.
What are you going to do? Hammer it a little?
I'm going to reinvent the wheel.
See, only the young people who have less than 3 years experience of something before becoming a shop manager can reinvent the wheel. You don't understand. People that have real experience are not allowed to do that because you're not open to learning new things.
Right.
You don't understand.
Right.
There are things that haven't even been invented that the young guys are going to invent.
Well, there's new technology
Yes.
that I don't
Yes.
know about.
There's new technology.
Apparently, there's some kind of new stealth technology that has been invented in the paint world that the older people, it's just kept away from us.
It is, yeah. Us, especially the older guys, they just don't figure it out. And look, I understand that the younger guys hate the older ones because they have more knowledge and the older ones are smarter than them when it comes to the knowledge. And when you're young, you absolutely hate that, especially if you come out of a college because you're supposed to be at the top when you come out of a
Right.
college. You absolutely hate anybody with more experience. I myself started in this with 0 experience, and I learned from a guy that at the time had 25 years experience, who's dad right there in front of me. And it wasn't easy. I certainly thought I was smarter than him, and there were quite a few times where I felt like I reinvented the wheel. But ultimately, I did not reinvent the wheel because it's already been done to death in an industry that has literally been around for 80 years now with the same base coat, clear coat has been around since the 1980s. So that's been almost 40 years that base clear has been out on the market. And everyone thinks that there's a new way to paint base clear. You don't understand. The clears are super duper
They've
longevity
changed.
now.
I've actually had morons, retards, inbred, stupid fuckers. Because whenever this stuff first came out, we had the representatives and the scientists that would come out to body shops as they were pushing it out to get rid of the new stuff from DuPont, PPG, Sherwin-Williams, stuff like that, who actually came to the shop and helped us work out problems going from lacquer paint, enamel paint to base paint, because we were still getting cars that were coming straight from the factory that would get into, collision, that would get into hits. And so the stuff didn't work very well with enamel on those, 2-year-old or year-old cars.
Because they were painted in.
Because they were painted in single stage. So we had, guys that were coming out and showing us, and we were showing them. It was an exchange of knowledge, but it was kind of funny. But I had retards that have told me that the guys who invented this were so stupid that they didn't understand what they had invented and couldn't explain anything to us.
Here's the thing.
That was a 19-year-old kid that told one of them that told me that. And then
Right.
there was a 30-year-old kid that told me that.
Here's the thing for me. You had actual paint reps when they came out. They had to know the product. They had to, because you were
Right.
putting it over top of, like you said, a single stage
Yes.
enamel, but you were also putting it over top of the lead lacquer that was around back in the day. So those were 3 different paint systems that were all coming out around the same time that
Right.
truly did interact. So you needed a paint rep who actually knew what he's doing. That does not happen anymore because the old cars like this, their advice is to just sand it all the way down to bare metal.
Right.
You don't need to worry about just trying to do a quick fix and paint over top of it. So they stopped hiring people that actually had any experience in this industry, and they started hiring, I want to say children, but they can be 40 years old.
They started hiring people like Bryce, which is what
salesmen.
Bryce is
right. It
is
became a
what Bryce
sales
is
thing.
shooting for. Fake TV non-painters are shooting for positions in Sherwin-Williams as a painter. How to sell. And he knows how to get a hold of the younger paint guys and other paint guys cult and the Mormon cult system. I mean, the Mormons out there taught their ward how to lure in cheap.
Right.
And, the butthead face can be the face of the company that's never been before.
Yeah, it's just like Tom Cruise with Scientology.
No. It would never be like that.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the truth. That's how it goes, though. Everyone acts like show cars
Because, you've
and
only
stuff is
got
reality, but it's
12
not.
years of experience. 3 years into it, you buy a $927,000 home with a pay of $26,000.
With $26 an hour.
Oh,
according to him, he
an hour.
worked $26 an hour is all he made as the shop manager at Ken Diggett.
Right.
But yet he was somehow able to afford a home that was almost worth $1 million.
$1 million home.
On $26 an hour. And that was in 2019.
Right.
And then that's whenever he decided to.
I couldn't get a fucking mortgage for $30,000 making $19 an hour.
Right, exactly. They're not giving it to you. And not in 2019. Not in 2019. That's just not happening. I believe you if we were talking about before the housing crisis.
But like I said, when a Mormon church gets out there and your house is part of the occult,
wards,
Mormons that, own the entire property of your neighborhood cult, and then they own the mortgage to the cult house. Home.
Well, no, he owns it, I'm sure.
I'm sure the occult owns Bryce owns it. Yeah,
Sean says, are you going to hot glue and pull it?
No.
I've seen a lot of people do that. Does that actually work?
I would if this was like a 1990 or 2000 or something, but
not real metal.
I could take your face and beat it out. No, this is real metal.
You're going to do a super cold rag and heat. Maybe you can heat it up a lot and warp it a little.
Nah, I'm just going to put Bondo on it.
Let's see. Pull the inner panel and tool it.
I could. I absolutely could not because I'm not a mechanic.
That's the way to do.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm not clips on a 1970 door in order to reach in and pop it out.
Here's the misconception that happens. These old cars like this don't have to be a restoration. They don't have to be a show car. They can simply be a daily driver that looks nice.
Right. He just wanted to.
It doesn't have to be about the prestige. I've spent $80 million on my restoration.
Right.
No, that's not what this is. This is just about you want your car to look pretty and you want it to be a certain way.
Right.
Which is what we do. Brad says the old ones need to pass along the secrets. That's the problem. Nobody needs to give you anything. You need to earn it. Okay. And that's the whole problem right now with people like Bryce. He's never had to earn anything in his life. It's all been given to him. And so that's why he hates the older technicians so much. That's why he hates anybody that challenges his information. Okay. Now he's nice about it and he'll never come out directly and ever say anything like that. But you could see it in his body language, with this whole thing right here or hitting his block and all of that. This is literally a
I hate you move. When you see people doing this and you're watching them, they're studying you and they're also thinking to themselves, I really hate your fucking guts. If I could pull the fucking face off of you, I would.
That may
That's
not be
literally
true
what
for
they
everyone.
said.
I feel like that might be true for you, though.
No, that's true.
Syke said, did you say this was an OD green with gold pearl in the clear? That'll be nice.
Yeah, that's what this one's
That's
gonna be.
exactly what this is going to be.
It's not going to be in the clear, but yeah, it's a cleared over.
It's basically in a mid coat is what it's going to be in. Let's see. Sean says, another idea, you could also heat it up and pull it. Yeah, that's what I said. Sabrina said, me and my grandpa are working on the Oldsmobile.
Nice.
What was the last time you got a run, JP? Please be honest. I'm a young painter. That's from Madison.
Last time I got a run, I think 2 cars back.
3 cars back, yeah. And we told the customer, you know, bring it back to us.
We all get runs in them, man. Nobody ever says we don't. Shit, I goddamn near tripped and fell into one on the last live I ran.
You actually have to watch, Dad, and you almost did it on the last one, but you caught yourself. When it comes to cars with mirrors, and thankfully this one only has one. When it comes to cars with mirrors, he likes to drag his gun along, and then boop, hit the top of the gun on the door, which can cause you to squeeze the trigger a little too much, and then out pops a run.
And it'll hold it back. And you're like, hey, did that just, oh shit.
Yeah.
It'll form a nice little V.
Yeah.
Right underneath the mirror.
Yeah, you really got to be careful, which is why Dad takes a door with a mirror in 2 parts. A lot of people take the mirror off, whatever. It's your prerogative what you want to do. But if you leave the mirror on there and you're painting it, just make sure you take the door apart.
The real reason they pull it off is not because they're paid to do it. It's because they smack the mirror all the time, put a run right there.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to compensate for it. Because when you watch me, I'll sit back on this angle and I'll turn that gun as I get close to the fucking to that, and then I'll turn it this way and going that way.
Yep. It's all about angling your gun, which is something you get with experience.
I don't know why you kids think I'm not honest about things. You
because that's the parrot lie that everyone talks about against you. That's what the truth is.
You kids run around here and go, you don't do body work. Oh wait, why is he doing body work? I never said I don't do body work. I said I don't do collision work. I do small dents and dings like this because I'm not a body man. I've never claimed to be a body man. People
also say, you're so arrogant. You think you're the best painter in the world, JP.
Right. People go, you think you're the best? No, I've never said that at all. There are tons of better painters than me. But the occult boy, I mean, the 12-year-old experienced kid, Bryce, out there with small blocks, he doesn't, I'm just better than him because
he doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything.
Everyone keeps mistakenly calling him the painter, but he's not. He was never the painter. He never claimed to be the painter. And he says he was the body shop manager.
Like I said, I talked to a guy who now owns a coffee shop business, probably in Fredericksburg, Virginia, who said that at the time Bryce was out there, he was the lead painter at Ken Diggett's shop.
Right. One of the lead painters.
And I said, well, thank you very much. That tells me everything I needed to know. And he goes, what does that tell you? And this was the last statement he ever made. What does that tell you? And I said, well, that confirms that painted a fucking thing in his life. And he could talk about it. Hey, you know what? Let's talk about thermonuclear weaponization of uranium.
Let's not say some stuff on YouTube.
So
you're going to see me making faces.
Let's talk about that. Now, see, I can talk about that until I'm blue in the face. But it doesn't mean I can do it. I actually know what I'm doing. So look, if you take a little bit of the sunbeams that come down and you trap them between a mirror and a mirror in another jar, and you trap that together, and you pick up some dirt on the ground, and then you put that in with that mirror, not letting the sunlight escape it. You got to drill a hole in the side of glass without popping it. And then you sprinkle in a little bit of dirt.
That's how you capture sunlight.
Put some duct tape over top of it and shake that up real good. Then you got to hold it and piss in it, okay, without it burning. And then you got to put some more screws in that. You shake that up and you got fucking uranium. You got uranium 738.
Would you stop saying keywords?
And so, see, now I've talked about how to do that, how to create your own stuff. Did it make it true?
No.
Did it make it accurate?
No.
Does that make me a thermonuclear chemist?
No.
No. Bryce sits down every day when it's nice and cool and the sun's out, and, the sun's not out there in Utah, and he goes, So let's talk about what I don't know today. I'm going to change because I have to. I have to change from clear coating to stacking. Yeah, stacking. That's it. That's the word, stacking. We're going to stack because I have a whole 12 years of experience. Excuse me, I have 2 decades. I think we're a little shy of 20 years there, Slick, with 12 years. And that's not me. That's your
biography.
You little cult that you run. I mean, Mormon church that you go to. So that makes you being able to sit down and go, I stacked 5 coats of clear. Old people don't know anything. Older techs don't know anything. Now, I've never said you can't put 5 coats of clear at one time. In fact, I've done it myself. But you can't wait longer than 30 minutes, which he says on his, he waits a minimum of at least 30 minutes.
Minimum.
So that means he's probably giving 45 minutes to an hour in between each clear coat.
Didn't he say he takes a 10-hour day or an 8-hour day and blocks it out to paint?
Right. Yeah. And then he does that. Okay, that's his words. These are all his words. You can watch his videos. And if he takes them down, let me know. I got them recorded already. I got them recorded. So, and then he goes on to say that you can put 5 coats of clear on over a 6-hour, 10-hour, 5-hour period that he breaks down so that he can do that.
Right.
Also, he can turn around. Again, when he takes the video down, let me know I've got it. He goes, we sand off 2 to 3, starting with 600 grit, so that we can get the cellulite. And I didn't know cars were alive, by the way.
They got fat.
All of a sudden, they got human fat in them. We can sand down the clear and make it flat. Now, it's not just me. It's every real painter out there in the American sphere. If you go read all the hatred that I have, for every 1 hatred I've got 7 guys that go, I absolutely hate your guts, disagree with you on most things, most everything you do, and I'd probably punch you in the face if I ever saw you. Yeah. But I agree with you. You can't fucking do that with that clear, because he names the ultra high solids clear that is a baking only clear by Sherwin-Williams.
By the way, that clear says that it wants 2 coats with no flash time, 5 to 7 minutes tops. There is a little thing, and I don't even know where this came from, but there's something on his page himself when and by the way, he shows this in his video, those very things I just told you, and it says on there, maximum flash time 30 minutes, but he's doing the opposite of what this clear says to do.
Maximum flash time that's reading is 30 minutes before you get it from your last coat to put that motherfucker in the oven before you bake it. That's not flash coat in between to allow it to paint.
Fair enough.
Continue to fucking read that, because that's what it is. It's a max. After 30 minutes, you can't bake that shit.
Are there clears you could do this with?
Oh, sure. I've talked to lots of guys that use DC.
The 2021?
DCU 2021, 2042.
But they wait 10 to 15 minutes in between.
Right. They're 5 to 10 minute flash coats, depending upon the temp of what they're spraying, but they're doing it.
Here's the truth. They're still getting solvent pop. And I don't think so. I do. I think that a lot of people don't know what solvent popping is anymore. And I think that they just simply wet sand and buff it out, call it a lot of dirt, day is done, or they make up new terms for it, cellulite or whatever they want to call it.
They don't.
But that's the problem that's happening.
There are guys out there that do this, that have done this for quite a while, and they're not getting solvent pop. They just know how to do it. But the truth of it is that most, even of them, they're putting 3, 4 tops, so that they can sand it for the show car finish.
But the question is, why do you waste so much clear?
Right.
Let's say that he wasn't even using the clear that absolutely tells you not to do this because it's a production clear. It's absolutely not the clear to do this on. But he was using like Sickens, which says you could put 6 coats on or whatever craziness it is. Why would you put all of that on just to sand it all off? You waste so much money that doesn't need to be wasted. And see, that's the problem. He is informing you incorrectly. He's going to make you waste money. He's going to give you wrong directions. At some point, your clear will peel with the way he teaches you. And he's not teaching you anything correctly. He's simply making things up. And so people keep asking, why are you attacking him? He's never attacked you. He's never done any. Well, you know, at the end of the day, even if he's never said like anything directly, he's giving out bad information. And I keep having people reach out on JP Auto Paintworks that go, hey, I stacked 5 coats of clear using whatever clear it was, and now it's peeling off 6 months later. I don't understand. Did I do something wrong? Can you help me with some technical advice? There have been hundreds of these people that have reached out to us, and we should actually post up all of the comments and the DMs from these people, because it's getting ridiculous. He's giving out false information that all these people are buying. Let's see. Max says people need to quit trying to change crap. You want to learn this, get your butt out there and figure out how it works rather than expecting folks to give you the answers.
Well, I don't mind giving people answers, but I mind people whenever they go, I'm a painter and you're an idiot. And then they come back 6 months later like I've forgotten who they are and go, man, I should have listened to you. I did it the way that somebody else told me, Colt. And man, I fucked it up. Mm-hmm. I mean, it milked up and it peeled, and it took it 2 months to do. I should have listened. I usually send back the comment of, I don't give a fuck. I think it's funny as hell. Fuck you. And just like now, I'm going to wait because he's been exposed. I've exposed him. And when he fails, or whenever his paint jobs start failing, if he's really doing them for the public, and he's not, he'll start getting some lawsuits and everything else, like Ken Diggett did while he was there, supposedly being a painter. You know, I'll just repost this shit.
Well, you know, he's also now teaching classes. It's like a 2-day course, right, and it's $1,000 to learn how to paint.
Right. It's $1,700 to learn his way of doing.
Yeah, to do the body work as well.
Body work and paint work. It's like a 3 or 4 day course.
Right.
Really? You're charging them that kind of money for what? What are you?
Here's what he gives them. Here's what he gives them, by the way: a paint suit, which is somewhere around $20, a mask, which is also somewhere around $20, pamphlets, swag, and gear from him, which probably costs him less than $12. And in total, he's probably giving out maybe $100, but he's taking in $900 in profit off of that.
Of the money that they're already getting.
Oh yeah, let's not forget all the clear and paint that he's supposedly going to be using on them. It's probably like another $100. It costs next to nothing, but you're charging so much money. Right. By the way, are you really going to learn from a guy that's never actually painted before? He is genuinely not going to teach you correctly.
Right. It won't be him. My money is that it's not on him. It'll be his lead painter there.
Oh, good point. So he's not even going to actually teach. He'll come in and say, oh, this is how you do it, and this is why. But when it comes down to it, it'll be someone else that's doing it.
He'll be standing on the outside of the booth while his painter is on the inside showing.
Right, because he doesn't know how to do anything. If he tried to actually demonstrate this, nobody would be able to paint anything. VMP says, this man is so passionate. I love it. He sent us a 2026 New Year's Eve gift.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Let's see. Sabrina says, so my grandma, she had the Oldsmobile, sat in a garage for 35 years. Then we came to pick it up and it didn't want to move. So we got my grandpa's truck and we wound up doing a burnout on it.
On your truck.
Let's see. Bad says, what year Caprice is that?
It's not a Caprice, it's a Skylark.
It's 70s, I think.
Yeah, we think it's an early 70s.
I think it's early 70s. I don't know. Some of y'all are more fanatical and you'll be able to tell me better. I shouldn't say fanatical, but some of y'all know more than I do. Retentive. Some of them like the Buick. I think the Buick Skylark is beautiful when it's in convertible. Soph says, is he Somalian?
Bryce? Yeah, probably. I mean, he's Nicole. I mean, he is in and Nicole. I mean.
Let's see. Does it really pay good being an auto technician?
No.
Not really.
It doesn't pay good until you become a owner, which is the goal. But for some reason in America, that's not the goal. the goal. And I keep getting guys who go, I work for somebody, or actually they don't. They go, I've got 39 years in this business and I've done it all from everything. And then you go look at them and it's like, they're working for Joe Bob's Hocat, sucking dirt into their lungs. They're not doing paint and body work.
Right.
And so whenever I start pressing them and they finally get pissy enough, they go, well, I own my shop and then I got out. Oh, so you ran your shop into the ground and you think you're what? You think you are somebody?
Yeah. Rick says bodywork is a very, very hard job. It's OCD about it with bodywork. You gotta be straight with it, especially like you can look down the side of the panel and you can see the little dents and dings that are on it. Some people want perfection. Some don't care. Let's see. Hancock says morning.
Morning.
Right now, Dad's using 80 grit on a DA to sand out where he's going to be putting Bondo. That is 80 grit, right?
Right.
What's the difference in open and closed sandpaper? Never heard of that.
Closed sandpaper?
Yeah.
All right, so this gets kind of technical. Let me explain that. What?
Nothing. I'm waiting for your explanation.
All right. Open. Close. Open. Close. Following me?
He said open and close coat sandpaper.
What?
Open and close coat sandpaper.
Open. Closed. Open. Closed. Open. Kind of like your mouth. I need to be. You never know.
Anyways,
Open and closed sandpaper?
I've never heard that either. Let's see. Mai says, I have a question. I got deep scratches in the clear. For an inexperienced person, would you recommend 2000 grit and polishing it, or just polish multiple times for a similar result? Worried I'll go through the clear.
Well, if you're worried about it, then you already know how deep it is. And you know that if you keep wet sanding it, it's going to go through. So the great thing about base coat, clear coat is that if you've got a cut here in the middle of the door, you don't have to worry about blending into that. Sand that motherfucker down, prime that motherfucker, base that motherfucker, clear that motherfucker. Make that motherfucker say bye-bye. Or you can waste time in trying to sand it down. You can do what other people have done. If you take the color and you've got clear and you pour your color and your clear together until you've got a pretty decent amount of the color and it looks right, you could take a nail file paintbrush and dip it into that a few times, let it dry, sand it, let it dry, sand it, and then you can clear it, or you can
buff it. I've seen people do that.
Yeah.
I've seen people take little scratches and just put clear in it even.
It's all about what you want to do.
Are you prepping the finish with your breath?
No, I'm using your wife's nasty ass crotch. You know, the Brillo pad bitch.
Matthew says there's a lot of good painters out there, but one like you, JP, old school, pulling off great work in all conditions at all rates as the people want. I love your style, my friend.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, there are a lot of great painters out there. The occult boy, Bryce is just not one of them. He's not a painter. He might be a body man, but he's not a fucking painter.
No, a lot of them aren't. Drew says it's because kids see videos and know everything. If they had any life experiences, they wouldn't doubt you.
Right.
Doubt's okay.
Doubt is fine. Questioning me is fine. But believing in the idiot who comes out and goes, as Beavis. Okay, guys, today I'm going to tell you how to paint a car. First, you get sandpaper, then you sand the car. Then you get base coat, and then you go ahead and you stack 17 coats of clear in one time. Go ahead, you'll be okay. You can do it. Hey, Sherwin, pay me the money that you agreed for selling your shit. Oh, did I say that? I would never say that.
Let's see. Marion says lots of them use wraps now too. Best memories I had was working in my garage. Right.
There are people that use wraps. Nothing wrong with that. There are colors that you just can't do with wraps. I think wraps are cool.
Do you know Ken Diggett from Utah? Just a question.
Sure, I know him personally. We hang out, drink, and fuck around together. No, I don't know Ken. I know that he's in all kinds of lawsuits while Bryce was there.
Marion says, so like this man, he's not a bull crapper. Can't bull crap a bull crapper.
No, you can't. You can't con a con.
I think you waste more time pining over him than he does between coats.
Pining over him.
How about warning people about what's the truth and what isn't?
I make a 2-minute video, and apparently that takes me all day to do, and so
yes.
What? Nobody's pining. And if you want to say that I'm pining, let's look at the 2-3 people so far that I've chomped after. If you really want to get down into
actually it, Mike still makes videos about you, doesn't he?
I don't know. He doesn't come after us anymore on our own page.
I'm pretty sure he still makes videos about you though.
But the people that I've gone after, like Mopar Keith, he's a piece of shit. He absolutely got caught because he wanted to mock a guy that said, man, I think you're charging a little more than what I want to pay. So he decided to make a post about that and mock that guy. And then Turbin went after him for another fake guy. And they both were kind of ganging up on this guy. And so meanwhile, Mopar Keith is showing this whole, according to Mopar, according to Keith up there in Pennsylvania, it's a matching low-numbered Roadrunner. Everything, all numbers matching. Now, if you're any kind of car person at all, you know what that means. And he's saying low number engine, low number transmission, rear differential, all of that shit matched. And he's showing the car down the side. brand new aftermarket door panels.
From 2024, because that's how long ago it was.
Right, from 2023. No, 2024. Brand new door panels, brand new rear door panel passenger, brand new quarter panel, brand new roof, brand new fucking fender. Hood was the only thing that he hadn't replaced on the passenger side. Brand new fender in the on the other side of the car as well. Brand new core support. All aftermarket. And brand new quarter and brand new deck lid, as well as brand new door.
Right.
On the other side of this, low matching numbers. And then he shows a weld across the
sail panel.
Across the quarter panel where he welded the roof and stuff. And he goes, now I'm all done with this. I'll put body work on it. He had 3 tack welds. And they look like something that I would do because I don't fucking weld. And so I called him on it. I said, wow, man, that really looks bad. And then all of a sudden, I start talking about the welds. I start talking about him being low matching number. And if the car was really, truly worth $45,000, the brand new aftermarket parts that you just put on it made the car worth maybe $3,500 now.
Right.
Because you took what was matching numbers stamped on every goddamn original panel and you replaced them. They're no longer matching. And so he and I went back and forth, and then and I only had like 3,000 followers at that time.
Right.
But all of a sudden, I get a message from him that says, stay in your lane. You don't know anything about this. And I went, I'm just going off of what you're showing on your fucking panels there, buddy. And so I made a video about how I'm in my lane because I've done restoration paint jobs. I've seen real painters or real body men do a real restoration on one of those road runners where they didn't replace it all with aftermarket brand new parts. Then all of a sudden, the videos disappeared. He closed down his fucking page for a day too, while he changed out everything about what he was showing. And then he's proclaiming that we need to cancel JP Auto because he's an endangerment. He shouldn't be allowed. And he cusses and he does this. By the way, I also showed a video of his or a picture of him standing on the back of a car or standing behind one of those road runners, popping a beer going, now it's time to drink.
While working on the cars.
At 9 a.m. in the morning while he's working on a car.
Of course.
So I proved that what a bitch he was and what a scammer he was. Then came Durbin because that was a friend of his. And Durbin was talking a little bit of this, a little bit of that about paint work too. And, I kind of called Durbin a moron because, he goes, I'm a painter. And then 3 months later, he shows a guy that he calls in to specifically paint a car because he's not a painter. And he makes the statement, I'm not a painter, I'm more of a body man. And I always said that he was never a bad body man. I thought he was a pretty good body man. He's not a car painter, so he doesn't know shit. But he knew enough to be a little dangerous, and he knew how to wet sand, he knew how to buff. But, so that was 2 of them that I named that actually turned out to be true. And then came along Mikey, the chop shop boy, all of his peelers. Then came the hooker down there in Houston. And, looks like I'm kind of 4 for 4. Looks like I really don't go after people that are knowledgeable about what they're saying and are actually doing good in what they do because they do it the right way. Looks like I just pick on the con man scumbag pieces of shit.
Right. The ones who pretend to have 20 years, but they only
the ones
have 12.
Who claim I've got 2 decades.
The ones who
But
speak
really-
on painting, but have never painted before.
Really, you only have 12 years.
Right. And let's talk about him because he says that he's reinvented the way to paint a car. He literally runs from, and I know now why it takes him 10 hours to do a car. He goes from the driver fender, driver door, passenger door. Driver corner, passenger corner. Then he does the top surfaces because you got to keep the wet edge. And if you run around the car, by the time you get back to the original spot, you no longer have that wet edge.
Oh, and let me ask this anyway, too. Since we're talking about wet edge, Bryce, this is specifically for you, you fucking monkey. You Beavis looking bitch. Why do you need to chase a wet edge since you're wet sanding it and buffing it anyway with your blocks?
That's what I'm saying.
Can you tell me what's the big deal? And I've always said this, if you have to wet edge it and you're always worried about it, well then you're using shit clear.
It's too fast.
You're just using shit clear. You don't know what you're doing. I show it all the time where I start in the middle of the roof and then on the beginning coat, and I'll paint the side all the way around, including, coming over here. And then whenever I paint the roof, I do what I was taught 37 years ago. You paint the roof, paint down the quarter to keep that wet. You come around over here, you paint this half of the roof, paint down the quarter to make sure it's wet, come around to the driver's door and work my way back around, which keeps both of those edges wet. And, come up the passenger side, do the hood, half of this hood on this side, go around to the other side, then I do this half of the hood and the door.
That's why I said,
and then I can open up the driver's door just a wee bit.
Does everyone just...
And spray the door without overspray going on the next door.
Does everyone just, I don't know, kiss his butt? Does nobody actually say, hey, look, man, you going all the way around then why do you wet sand and buff afterwards? You don't need to wet sand and buff afterwards if you're trying to chase the wet edge, because the whole point of chasing the wet edge is so you don't have that dry streak from overspray.
But you're wet sanding and buffing it anyway.
So what does it matter? It doesn't hurt the clear.
And according to you, you're doing it to get the cellulite.
Also, but let me ask you this. If it's that dry by the time you're doing the whole thing, is it really a good idea to keep waiting 30 minutes in between?
Right.
See, there's so many inconsistencies in what he says. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes sense because he's a bullshit con man.
Yeah, okay.
And that's about to come out there in that cult. Because believe you me, when cult members turn on their own, they'll eat their young. They'll eat their young in a heartbeat. It's coming. It's not a question of if. It's a question of when.
Good time says, JP, putting pride back in your ride.
Hey, man.
Let's see. ASL LMJP. Matthew says, been painting for 35 years in Colorado. I'm a grinder like you. I like your style.
Thank you. Whoopsies.
Really threw some clear at me here. See, this amount of clear on your car, eventually it's going to peel. It's just a matter of when. Not even if, it's just a matter of when. 5 stackable, ultra high. See, this is what these guys go for. And look, you see this? It turns into a magnifying glass. Well, it gets cloudy, but the point of putting more clear on your car is not for longevity. That's the opposite that you could do for longevity at one time because this peels. But the object is to make it like a magnifying glass so that when you look through it, everything looks warped and distorted and it looks cooler. That's the point of putting more clear on, which is the point of re-sanding your clear and then sanding your clear and then re-clearing.
Which goes to show you, because he talks about, why I no longer put 2 coats on, dry sand, and then put 2 more coats on because, well, you burn through. And that's what he's trying to say. I keep burning through the clear, and so I've got to rebase it. And then I've got, that's what he's trying to say.
Because your sandpaper's too aggressive, maybe?
It's because he's not a painter. He doesn't understand the process of it.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's a bitch.
Let's see. D says there isn't a color that can't be put on a wrap.
Right.
That's true.
I don't disagree. Like I said, I like wraps. I think they're cool.
But glossy wraps don't quite have the same thing like a glossy paint job does, and that's just my opinion. You can do a lot of flat colors, and you should when you do the wraps, but you just don't get like a pearl with a bunch of flake and it's gloss. You're not going to get that with a wrap. You're just not going to get the same look.
I think you can get some of it.
I don't. I haven't seen that, truthfully. Well, Edge says wraps look good, but they don't have the depth of a good paint job. Yeah, that's what I mean. What would you charge to paint a 91 E350 passenger van?
I won't. I won't touch another one. I made that mistake once already. Never again.
Yep.
Just like I believe that Bryce is a car painter. Never again. No. Where the fuck did all our Bondo go? I bet no. Yep. Okay. Who's got questions? I've got answers.
One large drip is what you're going for in your clear. Yeah, I guess so. Let's see.
I've had a lot of people say it. Instead of putting 3 coats or 5 coats of clear on the fucking car, why don't you just make your body work straight? Quit trying to straighten out your body work.
You know, there's a lot of people that actually say you got soft hands, which, you know, would be kind of creepy. But then when you actually look at it, you're like, dang.
Beavis has soft hands.
You got soft girly hands, and this is coming from a girl who actually works for a living.
Right, Beavis. I can't unsee that, so now I have to call him Beavis.
Let's see. Chevy says there's only one wet edge I worry about keeping it clean. LOL. Unless you're painting a darn rock star motorhome or in an oven, maybe he's just slow.
No, because he's an idiot. He paints one door, runs around, paints another door, runs back around, paints a quarter, runs back around to paint another quarter.
Yeah.
He's a fucking idiot who has never painted a day in his life.
Woody says, you like that body filler?
Shit is shit to me, man. I'm not a body man, so it doesn't matter.
It seems like it's all the same. Of course, you have people out there that say, oh, there's this and there's that. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, does it all do the same thing?
I mean, some is thicker and some are easier to spread, but I don't use enough of it to care. I mean, I don't. To me, it's all the same. It's like base coat. It's all the same.
Yep. Woody says some pinholes more than most.
Right. Some do. And Woody, time for your yearly cough, please.
Rudy said, Bingus God. By the way, we're back to using the Bondo board that's made up entirely of Bondo.
This one?
Yes, that's made entirely of Bondo. You want to know whether or not it's a good Bondo. He's got a Bondo board made out of it that he keeps mixing more Bondo on, and it hasn't broken. Watch him. After he's done with it, he'll throw it on the ground. That's what he keeps doing. Stop it, for you create a dent in this man's hood. You get a dent because of Bondo. I'm just saying, is the Bondo any good? Yes. You want a good example of high-tech Bondo? He's using it as a board. You just right there. What more do you want? That's what you want for your Bondo, right? You want it to be able to withstand a lot of beatings. There you go. Syke says the Grinch gloves. Good Time says love the green gloves. Good Time also said take pride. JP puts pride back in your ride.
That's why I use these, because they're
that's why I wanted them.
That's why I bought them.
Bought them, Dad. You bought them.
That's why I bought them down there at Harbor Freight.
Wonder if he knows about changing your respiratory filters.
I know, because the human body is resilient. And by resilient, I mean that it can fix itself over time.
Okay, do you want me to scare you? Because I could scare you guys for a moment.
No, because they don't believe you anyway.
Okay, but you know the slow release pills you take, like Advil and other things like that are slow release, time release? They use isocyanates for that. A lot of people don't know that, but that's how they do that. They use isocyanates. I feel like it shouldn't be a hidden secret. It should be out there.
Yeah, but nobody believes that, because if you start believing it, you truly will freak out.
Right, that's true. That's why I said, do you want me to scare you? Everyone thinks, oh, I am just the most healthiest person in the world. No, you're not. You've been experimented on. I think the whole government, the whole human race, especially in America, we're one giant lab rat is what we are.
Ain't that the fucking truth? I can tell you that now.
Message redacted says about an inch over the whole car. Is this the guy from Pawn Stars?
No, I'm from Porn Stars.
Ew, Dad.
Me and your wife.
$5.99 to download. That's funny. You know, that's a lot. I said that's a lot. This is the worst dent on the whole car.
Right.
And we're not charging to fix any of these dents.
Right. This is just a half-ass kindness.
I don't think it's halfway done. Of course, it's not a restoration. If you want a restoration, you guys know that
Right.
with a restoration, they better be pulling out the metal and everything else.
They better be doing shit.
Bondo should be used sparingly in a restoration.
You know what's funny?
If you get your car back from a body shop and they tell you that they put Bondo over the whole thing, then you didn't get a restoration. You got ripped off.
You know what's funny is we used to have a guy, I break, you fix,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
which was, what's his name's buddy, Turbin.
Yeah.
And so he got on there one day, and I haven't heard anything else from him anymore because he was a bit of a dick with me. And so it took all of about 30 seconds to calm his, ass down. He was acting like he discovered something new by putting a blowtorch to a dent just like this on an older car, and then throwing a cold rag on it and then watching it pop out. And he's like, look what I can do now. Look, I've learned how to do this. And so I popped his bubble by going, hey, kid, that's nothing new. We've been doing that since fucking 1960, whatever.
Just another example of someone trying to reinvent the wheel.
Somebody who thought they had done something really cool that no one else had done. Now, granted, it's something that's not done a whole lot here in America. If you want to see real bodywork technique that's still done, go down to fucking Mexico and walk into a Mexican body shop.
That's true.
Those guys down there will teach you how to do fucking bodywork for real.
We need more of those guys on TikTok. I know we're in America's TikTok, right? Or America's YouTube, but I need to see more of their kind of style of bodywork because they actually do metal work more than just doing Bondo. Syke says, JP, tell people why you don't use cardboard to mix Bondo on. That actually started off on cardboard.
I use cardboard all the time.
He doesn't have any right now.
I don't have any right now.
But that's your special JP Bondo board.
Right.
We should auction it off and give it to somebody.
Hey, has anybody ever seen modern day art? Like, you ever go out to California, put on a suit and a tie, and go to one of these stupid, museum of
California,
art things?
pick a giant city.
I watched I can't really call him a dumbass, fucking genius, just an ingenious motherfucker who was a body man, who literally just went one day and he made this blob, big ass blob on a square little Bondo board, and he advertised it as modern art, and then he sold it for like, I don't know, $200,000-$300,000.
That's money laundering. You'll never convince me otherwise. That's the rich people money laundering. It's not real. It's just not real.
Like stackable paint jobs are not real.
Yeah, like an $800,000 restoration. That's not real either. That's money laundering. If anything's costing you more than $200,000 to $300,000 tops, and I can't even see that. Maybe if you're doing a full restoration where you took it from a frame. If it's anything,
for a lot cheaper than $200,000.
If it's anything more than that, and that's including labor, by the way, that's including labor. Anything more than that has got to be money laundering. You can't convince me otherwise.
Somebody tell me how much bad Chad has in a car that he builds.
Right, he's the only guy that I truly believe builds his own cars.
Right.
Everybody else, you just watch them, and it's all fake reality TV. They're like, oh yeah, this was a $500,000 build. Okay, but how?
Where's the fucking money?
How? Just how? Even if I bought just a frame of an old crappy car for $500, I could buy all the parts for that car for less than probably 20 grand. And the probably original on some of them.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You can still buy like Jasper transmissions and motors for like $3,500 fully.
Someone was telling us about
plug and play.
About Perkins Motors, which is a really big thing down there in Mexico.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Perkins Motors down there in Mexico.
So don't tell me that it's costing you $500,000. That's not real. That's fake. That's so fake. It's not real.
Or you're that fucking gullible.
Unfortunately, a lot of people are gullible, which is why I think Ken Diggett's going through so many lawsuits right now because people said, "Oh, I want one of these $800,000 paint jobs from Ken Diggett," and the reality is, it's not real.
Right? Who wanted a $200,000? A bunch of dentists wanted a $200,000 build because they're using. I don't know what the fuck they're using. I guess pure gold.
Pure gold, yes.
I don't know what they're using.
Silver, actually. Let's see. Message redacted says chicken wire patch.
Right. I've seen those.
We've actually seen people who use
that's not what happens in most of the Mexico body shops.
No, but we have seen that used.
There's a guy over in Tijuana who does what I do, only he's pulling the windows and everything else apart.
Yeah.
And he does it cheaper than I do, and it's better than I do.
I think even wet sands and buffs.
Right. And he's doing it, at a high level. Good on him. But that dude and the people who work around him, that's a fucking body man. That's a fucking painter.
Yeah. Do you think that's in Mexico, they're still using older cars with real metal as opposed to us while we're working up here with what we got?
So clearly you've never been to Mexico.
Well, no, I think that's fair because I think a lot of their...
Where's Ford? Where's Ford?
Yeah, but where do they ship all of their cars? They're not leaving it down there in Mexico.
Really? You don't think that the oil well guys and the cartels, don't come kill me guys, aren't buying brand new cars?
They absolutely are, Dad. But the general population, like we've been down here in Texas,
the general population,
you see there were nothing but trucks when we first got here, and we've seen how crappy this economy has gotten thanks to Biden, Trump, all of these people in office, that now all of a sudden there's cars being driven like 20-year-old ones that we never saw before down here in Texas. So you don't think that Mexico, which is far worse because like you said, the cartel and their corrupt president runs them. You don't think they're driving the older cars that they can still work on like this, that they know how. Not to say that they don't still have cities that have newer vehicles like we have.
Look, different places around the world do different things. There are villages, houses, things like that in Mexico where if they can't walk to it, they don't go to it.
Right.
Or if they have to walk to it, well, then they're taking the burro, they're taking the horse, they're doing whatever. But the only real place that has, newer cars and stuff like that would be Tijuana. Other border towns close to.
Yeah, it's going to be all your major cities.
The U.S., but, then you got, like I said, they got cars down there.
Let's see. Hot lead is a dying art.
Yeah.
I personally think it should be.
which is what a lot of the Mexican body men are still doing.
Yeah.
The craftsmen down there are hot leading that,
Yep.
stuff. Because they don't have the new parts that Americans do or the money to buy them.
Let's see. That invisible painting sold for millions. Right.
Wasn't painting, it was stupid art. Oh, yeah.
Like the banana.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, was it like the banana?
Yeah. Syke says cardboard dries out the Bondo quicker. I always use plastic or that dried out Bondo like you're using. I didn't know that. I've never noticed it anyways. Oh, put Bondo on the hood. Now you're going to have to sand that off. Let's see. Turkey says more money than brains. It feels like that.
Yeah, you're talking about the Colt boy.
No, just people in general who think
yeah.
that, they should get a $500,000 restoration done on a car that at tops goes for
Right.
20 grand at auction. But the name makes it worth more. And that's what I'm starting to think where the money laundering comes in. Like the name makes it worth money. Yeah, the same way in the art industry. Can we call attention to this in the body shop industry? Like you put this guy who was on TV, you put his name on this car that goes for 20 grand if his name wasn't on it, but now it goes for $500,000. Where does all of that money actually go? Is that truly money laundering that's going through it with rich people now? Because that's the way it certainly feels to me. Message redacted says there's no rust in Mexico. Old junk everywhere in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. I've noticed that a lot of the cars down here, like I said, are starting to turn into older cars. And our gas prices, I think, are some of the lowest in the U.S. Like it's like $2.20 down here right now. But yet people can't afford to drive trucks because of other reasons, because the economy is just insane. Let's see. Tim says, you're the same kind of guy learned to craft for a long time. I was operating engineering industry, had a way to get out of the way younger men. Stop looking on your phones. What?
Oh, so what you're saying is that the older people need to just go lay down and die somewhere. Let the newer people come in and run their cons and their scams. Meanwhile, people that don't know any better get run over and get their life savings taken away, and you're okay with that. I got you. You're a piece of shit.
When are you going to put this in primer? Well, he's still got some sanding.
I got to sand the whole car first, and I'm not priming the whole car. There's no reason to.
How come?
How come what?
Why wouldn't you prime this whole car? I mean, it's...
Because the paint's not peeling up except in certain spots, like on the trunk. Maybe the hood or maybe the roof.
But wouldn't it help it stick better?
Oh, no. No, it doesn't do that. I got bad body work. That's why.
I know I ask you questions and I sound like an idiot, but I'm trying to come from it from a DIYer's perspective who doesn't know anything. I personally understand why you don't. So don't be like shocked, like, what do you mean? Why, Cynthia? I've taught you this for 15 years. You're making me judge your judgment.
Well, I have
to. Let's see. Message says they repower the old cars in Cuba. It's an art. To be fair, Cuba, yeah. What car is that?
It is a 70s Buick Skylark that we believe.
Does it have a...
It's got something over here.
Does it have a sticker?
It's got a sticker, but not the sticker.
What is this sticker? Someone was talking about the ashtray. Does it have an ashtray on it? Well, that just says 98. That says 2012. I don't know what that is. Builder, installer, the mileage that was on it, maybe for engine or something. He does have a nice interior. I've been noticing people want to see interiors of these cars too. I'm sure he's going to get a lot of this fixed up. It does. I think that was an ashtray. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong.
Well,
There probably was one in here, but isn't anymore.
Today is mainly a day about
Sanding.
Well, it was, but not anymore. Now it's about eating lunch. Mainly, it was about just explaining. And people over on TikTok didn't like it because apparently I was picking on their cult leader, and they flagged it. I mean, we got it back, but they flagged the thing because they can't handle the truth about an occult leader.
Right.
And Bryce, I know you're in here. I know you watch my videos. I absolutely think you're an absolute piece of shit.
Right. I think you just don't know anything. Syke says $2.20 for gas. Hurry and get the Tahoe painted before gas goes up again, please. That's fair. That's fair.
That's only down here in Texas. I don't know what it is in Alabama.
Damien says my favorite car is the 87 Buick Grand National.
Right.
Those are pretty cars. Look in the back doors for the ashtray. No.
There used to be one. It'd be right in here somewhere.
hanging on the door. The old Cadillac, it was an 87 Cadillac, wasn't it? 89. It had ashtrays in the back door, which, you know, the only people you ever think of sitting in the back is going to be children. But there's definitely an ashtray in the old 89.
I guess it'd be 8. This is an R. Right. 1, 2, 3.
Message says my 78 got 8 miles to the gallon for the highway.
Damn. I can't fucking see it or count it because I don't have my glasses. Move.
That's like super large.
2, 3, 4, 6, 7.
72.
Yeah, 72.
It's a 72. Why not get an old muscle?
I mean, I kind of got one. Got a lot of them. Get an old muscle. What?
I don't know. A lot of people are like, you should get a hot rod. You should. But if you're not a car person, who wants one of those?
I'm not a car person. I'm a motorcycle guy.
Dad's a luxury guy. You know, there's 2 different types of people in the car world. There's the people who ride for luxury and then the people who ride for looks. And usually the looks are the hot rods and the older classics. Dad is definitely a luxury guy. He wants the car that's the most luxurious. So I guarantee you, because he wants the Jaguar that at some point in time he likely drove one and he said, wow, this is the most luxurious car I've ever driven in. Am I wrong?
Right. I was working in Zebulon, not Zebulon, but Wake Forest in North Carolina. I worked for a shop, and they were known for doing Volvos and Jaguars and stuff. And so I got to test drive a few of them out to lunch. And I really, really enjoyed the Jaguar. Had a nice, smooth ride. The air ride was nice, mid-90s.
Told you. He is a luxury guy.
Corvettes to me are one of the hardest vehicles to ride in. Like if you've got back problems, don't buy one, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I personally don't understand it.
It's like riding a Softail Harley Davidson. Every bump, every like fly you run over, you're like everywhere.
Yeah, I personally do not understand it at all. Not even like a little bit. 74 Bentley is a decent one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Are we ready to end the live? Wow, we had 100 people in here. Thank you guys for joining us for so long. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have the car sanded down tomorrow.
One more.
We should be taping it up, be painting this thing soon. Thanks for joining us.
Stay away from the Colts.